Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot. For today's pick a card reading, we have an exciting predictive reading, which as you can see by the title down below is a glimpse into your next 3 months. So this reading, as always, like most of my videos, is timeless. So whether you watch this now at the time of upload in July 2024 or even far, far into the future, this reading is meant for you whenever you find it. So without further ado, let us pick our piles for today. For pile number 1's over here on the left, I have Celestial of Spirit, Leap of Faith. For pile number 2's in the middle, we have Spirit of Dimensional, Entering Discovery. And over here on the right for my pile number 3's, we have Water of Dimensional, Watercourse Way. So just to reiterate, pile 1's Celestial of Spirit, Leap of Faith, pile 2's Spirit of Dimensional, Entering Discovery, and pile 3's Water of Dimensional, Watercourse Way. Feel free to pause on this part of the video if you haven't decided which pile calls to you yet. I always recommend to my viewers go with your first gut instinct, your first intuition, and or if you're drawn to more than one pile, you can even watch more than one. That is totally okay too. So either way, whenever you're ready, drop down to the description box below and or the top pinned comment beneath the reading. Click on the timestamp for your reading or multiple readings if you've chosen more than one. And then I will see you in our discussion about a glimpse into your next 3 months ahead. Bye. Hello, my beautiful pile number 1's. Welcome today to your pick a card reading on the topic of a prediction of your next 3 months ahead from the time you view this video. I'm super excited for this reading today, not just because, well, it's an exciting topic, but as some of you may have seen in my community post, I recently had a poll asking what your favorite types of decks are, and then I had a post after that saying I got some new decks for us to use in our readings based on your feedback from that poll. So big thanks to all my viewers who did vote in that poll. We're using all of the new decks today, and I'm very excited to see how we work with them for your messages. So without further ado, let's get to your reading. Of course, you picked Celestial of Spirit, Leap of Faith for your pile leader. We have a figure who has broken through the surface of the rock and is letting the hands of faith catch them. Very fitting, because, like I said, it says Leap of Faith. Sometimes we just have to let the universe catch us. So we're going to put this pile leader over here next to the pine cone. We're going to tuck that right there, Celestial of Spirit. And then, of course, we already have your Oracle cards. But I'm going to draw your tarot cards right now on screen. And we're using the new tarot deck I got, which, I mean, you can tell by the back why I instantly was drawn to this one. Definitely, it has pine trees all over it, so of course that was my, I was instantly like, hello deck, meet shopping cart. Spirit, for my lovely pile number 1's, could you give me 5 cards explaining a little bit more about their 3 months ahead, please? Thank you. For their highest, best good. Sorry, I'm just like geeking out about the decks. I get excited about decks, but because to me it's like I have more letters to use in an alphabet to create messages for you guys. So that's kind of how I view collecting more decks. So more ways for your spirit team to communicate through me to you. It's like giving them an extra color of paint to create things with us. So there's number 3, number 4, and I'm feeling the end here. Oopsie, don't want to drop the cards. Right there, number 5. Okay, we got our tarot cards ready. Let's reveal our Oracle cards first, pile number 1's for the next 3 months. Oops, there goes my foliage. So first up, we have the Citadel Oracle. Today you received the Captain, taking command, teamwork. Interesting. Maybe some leadership opportunities are coming in the next 3 months. We'll talk about that more in a second once we get all the cards on the desk. The Captain. And then we have 2 cards from the Ask Your Guides Oracle today. You received, okay, Ease. Runner Guides, number 55, if you're interested in the numerology. Ease. Beautiful. And then the second card from the Ask Your Guides Oracle today is Forgiveness from Healer Guides. Beautiful. Again, I'm going to keep saying beautiful because all the decks I'm using today are just gorgeous. So I'll try to check myself, but if I repeat beautiful a lot, you're going to have to forgive me. And then we have the good old Folklore Oracle we've used in previous readings. I'm actually going to set the tarot cards down here with me for just a second to make some room. And your Folklore Oracle today is, we have the owl. I got this in the last reading, I believe it was. So if you viewed my last reading and you got the pile with owl, maybe a little bit of a synchronicity. In this particular deck, the owl represents observation, so seeing things from different points of view. It's almost like the hangman in tarot, if you're familiar. Especially because owls do not turn their eyes, they turn their head completely around. That's how they see around them, and so they're often seen as spiritual vectors, or I should say messengers maybe is a better word, between our world, the mundane, and the beyond, at least in some cultures. Also seen, of course, animals of wisdom. So we're going to actually just set that over here a little bit. And then let's reveal your tarot cards for today, pile number 1s. Oopsie. I'm dropping cards. So first up we have, it looks like the Seven of Pentacles reversed. Something about needing to plant more seeds. We have someone represented by the sunflowers, or the pentacles in this deck, with lots of them in his wheelbarrow. Number 2, we have the Six of Wands, victory. That's a good sign. Six of Wands is victory. Maybe some more of that leadership vibe coming in here. Number 3, we have the Nine of Wands, holding fast and through to the end. Determination is a pretty good keyword to use for this card. Determination. So they look a little beat up, but they're holding on. I see. Okay. Number 4, we have the Hierophant reversed. Okay, bucking tradition, as I always describe that one. Bucking tradition. What old patterns can we let go of? And last but not least, you have the beautiful Two of Wands. Lots of Wands energy, lots of fire in this particular reading, pile number 1. So you have 3 different Wands cards. Wands are the fire suit in tarot. Two of Wands specifically is about making plans for the future. What are we dreaming about doing? She even has a globe over her head here. Looks like a disco ball, but it's like the world, it looks like. What plans do we make for the future? So just a moment of silence as I look over your cards here, pile number 1s, and string together a cohesive message based on the cards plus my intuition, things that might come through intuitively is how I'll put it. So apologies for 1 second of silence. Well, theme number 1 for the next 3 months for you, pile number 1s, is definitely, there's a really strong undercurrent here of taking, I wouldn't say a risky step, but taking a pretty big step that you haven't taken before, and or intuitively I'm almost kind of being told that you're walking along a path, and so far it's been pretty easy. It's been kind of, flat terrain, and then these next 3 months ahead, all of a sudden there's this little bit of a larger mountain in the distance that you're seeing, you're perceiving, and you're like, okay, take a deep breath, I gotta climb that mountain. Okay, it's not a scary thing. I'm not seeing that at all, pile number 1s. In fact, this opportunity, I'll call it, is an opportunity of being invited to take a risk, to take command, like your captain card says here from the Citadel Oracle. Okay, leadership position is kind of what I keep hearing resounding from these, especially your Oracle cards. And I'm not going to say it's going to be 100% easy, pile number 1s. Okay, you do have a little bit of some scary feelings, especially with your pile leader. It says leap of faith, and leaps of faith are always a little bit scary. Even if we know, especially in this particular depiction of the card, leap of faith, there's hands here waiting to catch the person that has fallen through the earth. So it can be a little bit scary, even though we know and we're being reassured everything will be just fine, pile number ones, but it is a little bit of a mountain in the way. But the good news is your spirit guides here are telling me you're going to be just fine, pile number ones, all right? You are going to be able to move through this opportunity for leadership, should you take it, with grace, with some ease, hence your ease card from your Ask Your Spirit Guides Oracle, okay? And then, too, especially emphasized by the Six of Wands here, that's the card of victory. So whatever this opportunity for leadership is, pile number ones, in the next 3 months, you're going to be victorious with that Six of Wands. Yes, there's that little bit of, okay, it might not be the easiest uphill battle with the Nine of Wands. That's the card of determination. That's the card of, I have been fighting for a while. I'm a little battered and bruised, but you know what? I have that fighting spirit, and I can make it through. And especially based on the Seven of Pentacles reversed at the beginning. This is something that I don't think you've been planning for, especially because the Seven of Pentacles is normally the card of someone planting seeds for something, like they're preparing for something, whereas reversed it tells me this is something that you haven't planted seeds for. So it might kind of be thrust upon you a little bit unexpectedly, pile number ones. It could be, if this is career related, it could be maybe someone steps out at your particular workplace and you're first in line to take that position of leadership, especially too with teamwork is another keyword of your Citadel card here. Leading a team of some sort. Okay, so keep an eye out for that in the next 3 months. Something you didn't expect, but you'll be successful at, especially in terms of opportunities where you can be a leader. Now, yes, there's that little scary leap of faith you have to take in order to accept that risk of failure, but that Six of Wands tells me you're going to be successful. And what's also interesting is I think it's something you haven't ever done before, especially with the Hierophant reversed here as the fourth card. The Hierophant is usually about the way things have always been done, traditions. Reversed, it's like breaking traditions. So not only is it something new to you, pile number ones, it's also something where I feel like you're going to buck some traditions at wherever you are given the opportunity to step into a leadership position. So if this is a company, which I think for most of you it might be, depending on your career, right? It could be that you change a lot of things around for the better for this company. Maybe that's why the original manager will have been let go. Maybe they weren't so good and they made things a little bit more toxic or not very, optimized, not very efficient. That's probably a better word to use. And so you're the one that comes in and you're like, okay, I know this is going to be a tough job with the Nine of Wands, but I'm going to succeed with the Six of Wands. And I'm going to break traditions here that haven't been serving this group of people, okay? Especially, too, with teamwork being an emphasized word here and the captain. You're going to make it an environment, or at least you have the opportunity to, where I feel like there's a little bit more of opportunity for everybody in the group to have a say in things, for them to shine more. Maybe it was a little bit more oppressive the way it's been going so far. And by you stepping into that leadership role, you're allowing others to shine their light a little bit more. And so you're someone holding up others, okay, in a way where you support them more than the previous person did. Does that kind of make sense, pile number ones? And then 2, though, I feel like that's not the end of your dreams here, because you do have the Two of Wands. I think because it is so unexpected with that Seven of Pentacles reversed, maybe there's been another dream you've been pursuing. Maybe it's even you've been thinking about like a career change or a job change, but very unexpectedly you're going to be like, okay, well, what do I do now? What do I plan for the future now? Because I'm being given this opportunity to take a leadership role and make some positive change in this place, right? So what do I do now? Do I take this? Do I go forward? Do I become that leader that I'm being told I can be? Or do I go and try to be a leader somewhere else or follow some other dream? That's the complete energy of the Two of Wands, is planning for the future. The dreaming card is really what if I were to give it one keyword, that's what I would call the Two of Wands, planning for the future, dreaming. Not taking action quite yet, so, yeah. And pile number ones, if you do take this leadership position, because you always have a choice. I'm never going to do a tarot reading and tell you have to take this word spaghetti. You have to take this leadership position, okay? I'm never going to say that. You're being given the opportunity to do this. But should you do this, even knowing that it might not be the easiest thing in the world, yes, there's that success there. We already talked about that. But two, especially with your ease and your forgiveness cards from the Ask Your Guides Oracle, even if or when you do make mistakes, because we all do, no one in life has ever made a mistake. It's impossible. Your spirit guides are there to support you during this time, to be forgiving of yourself. That's really what this card means. It's not forgiving other people so much. It's about forgiving yourself, okay? And so a lot of this path in the next 3 months is about learning to be more easy on yourself, to forgive yourself more, as that's part of the opportunity that this leadership position is, or at least the lesson that it could teach you should you take that path, right? Same thing too with ease. This card is very interesting because it's not a lot specifically about, oh, it's going to be a really easy path. We've already seen that it might not be the easiest position with the Nine of Wands, okay, and the Seven of Pentacles reverse being unexpected, but that card is all about, what's the best way to describe it? It's not ease so much in saying it's going to be easy. It's ease more in the way of learning to navigate difficult channels or difficult times with more grace. And so that's also part of the lesson that taking this leadership opportunity would do for you, pile number ones. Okay, so the major lesson is being easier and more forgiving of yourself, easier on yourself, I should say, and learning to navigate more difficult things with more grace and ease. But remember that Six of Wands. If you're hesitant, just remember, you're going to be victorious, pile number ones, in this leadership position. If you have any self-doubt, and I feel like it's you being in that position at this company, if it is a company, it could be even like a community group, it could be, maybe taking a leadership role in your family on some particular issue. Everyone's going to be a bit different, as this is a general reading, I always say, but you're going to be someone who, it's a really good fit for you, yes, because success with the Six of Wands, and like I said before too, with the Hierophant reversed, you're breaking traditions that need to be broken when you step, or if you should decide to step into this leadership position, pile number ones. And then looking at your Owl card, like I said when I first pulled that out, that's the card of observation, seeing things from a different perspective. Something that could really help you in the next 3 months or so, pile number ones, is we already kind of talked about shifting your perspective a little bit with the forgiveness card, because I feel like maybe you tend to be the type of person who is really hard on yourself if you do make mistakes. And so part of this observation theme with the Owl is viewing yourself and observing yourself in a different way. Instead of saying, should you take this leadership role, and say you make a mistake, instead of saying, I am a leader that failed, you could say instead, from a different perspective, I am a leader that's learning. Because I feel like this is something you haven't done before. And of course, whenever we're new to anything, pile number ones, we're always going to make mistakes. And it's completely understandable, number one. And it's completely acceptable, number two. So you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be, like the best leader in the frickin' world and never make a mistake and, yada, yada, yada. But you just have to be willing to take that leap of faith, like your pile leader says, and know that if you decide to take this role, it's a really good thing for you, and it's a really good thing for the people around you involved in whatever group you would be leading. So that's what I'll say about that, pile number ones. Let's see if there's any other messages here, because we kind of already covered a lot about leadership. Apologies for the silence for one moment. Yeah. I think too, pile number ones, you're going to find that you navigate this new role a lot easier than you thought you would. Like, yes, there's that it's about a little bit of a mountain climb, but part of this next 3 months too is realizing your own power in understanding that you can handle whatever this is. Because especially with ease and your pile leader of Celestial of Spirit, Leap of Faith, yeah, you're the right exact person to step into this. And it's like understanding your own leadership power will empower yourself, and it will elevate you spiritually into understanding just how much more you can handle and just how much more you're capable of, pile number ones. Especially too with all the fire energy here. We have 6 of Wands, 2 of Wands, 9 of Wands. That in tarot is, so the Wands is the suit of fire in tarot. And Wands are representative of passion. Wands are representative of creativity is another keyword. So I also think the next 3 months are a really good time for you to invest in creative projects, especially, if you're into, could be like art, could be like painting, drawing, could be writing, perhaps any form of creative expression. Next 3 months is a really good time for you to indulge in those things, and or pile number ones, picking up new creative hobbies. I even see maybe a little bit with like dance or physical type art hobbies, especially with ease, because I almost think of a dancer when I see this particular card. See if there's anything else I pick up on. And just connecting with others too, not just in the group that you're being asked to lead, but like shining your own light a little bit brighter so that it like burns farther and it reaches more people that are more aligned with who you are. It's like kind of like in the spiritual community we always call about like finding your tribe. So like I feel like the next 3 months are going to be really good for that too, especially if you've been feeling a bit more lonely, or maybe you're kind of in between like social friend groups. Throughout our lives we know we lose touch with friends, we make new friends, and so I feel like this next 3 months is also a really great time to look for new friends in that aspect, or that way too. Shining your light out farther to find people that are more aligned with you closely. And just taking more leaps of faith in general is your theme here in the next 3 months because of your pile leader. Letting go of the idea of, I need solid earth beneath my feet. And being willing to jump, being willing to let the universe guide you a little bit more. And because this is going to sound corny as hell, but like the metaphor I'm being given here for you pile number ones is, it's like you've been trying to fly without being willing to lift your feet to get off the ground. That's kind of how I'm being told. And so when you, this whole 3 months is just like, it's like an opportunity to fly. It's just the only catalyst that it needs from you, pile number ones, is your willingness to do that jump, to do that leap of faith, especially too with the, you have the owl, okay, and the owl is like a bird, so it's like another air sign I almost see of like flying, or like flight symbolism, I should say. And I think too, your captain here, I'm pretty sure that is the alchemical symbol for air right there. A lot of air. Okay, so the air is a lot about the mind. But yeah, I just think of like flying and birds too. And so just being willing to take those leaps of faith, being willing to step off to fly, instead of being so stuck on the ground. Because, too, I see in your tarot spread here, there are no swords whatsoever. And the swords are the suit of air in tarot. So it's like you have a lot of fire. You have a lot of passion with all the wands. But you need just a little bit more balance from the other elements. You have a little bit of the pentacles with the 7 of pentacles, but it's like I said, it being reversed is like these opportunities are unexpected. It's like you didn't plan for these. You didn't plant these seeds, and all of a sudden you have this sapling or like the seedling in your lap, and you're like, okay, I didn't plant this, but now I have to nurture this thing, or at least I have the chance to. So there's a little bit of earth vibe there, but mostly fire. So now it's a few more opportunities to really maximize your thinking power with all the air symbolism and all your other cards, right? Especially when you do, if you do step into like a leadership role, that might take a little bit like more mental power than the current role that you're in right now with that group. So it's really taking advantage of your mental strengths, taking advantage of your mental capacities to, and communication too. That's another thing. Air is also representative of communication. The way that you speak to people, I think, is another opportunity that's going to be given to you to explore in these next 3 months, especially through that leadership position, but in general. A lot about expressing oneself, a lot about saying things, a lot about the power of the mind here I'm seeing for you, pile number ones. Let's see. And then for the last few minutes, I want to draw 3 more cards explaining just last pieces of advice from your spirit team for the next 3 months. Spirits of pile number one, spirit teams of pile number one, I should say. Could you give me 3 cards of advice for them on navigating these 3 months ahead? Thank you. For their highest, best good. Okay, let's see what's popping. Right there, number 1. Number 2. And then that one right there, number 3. Okay, let's reveal them. Number 1 is the 9 of Pentacles reversed. Looking for more fruits of your labor. Number 2, we have the 2 of Swords reversed, feeling indecisive, needing to make a choice. Okay, so that harkens back to what I said about, it's like you were planning one thing for a while, pile number ones, and then this opportunity just kind of falls in your lap, and you're like, okay, well, what the heck do I do now? Because I have this dream I was working on, and then this opportunity comes up, and that's kind of where that indecision from the 2 of Swords of reversed comes up. And then we have the 3 of Pentacles, which is teamwork, which is literally the same keyword you had from the captain from the Citadel Oracle. So last piece of advice for you, pile number ones, in the next 3 months. Okay, try not to be hesitant when you make your decisions. And I know that's really tough to do, because especially if it comes to a pass of, here's a leadership opportunity, but it takes you away from the original dream you might have been working on before that opportunity fell in your lap. It's really hard to decide, and it's really hard to know. But what the 2 of Swords reversed here is saying is that you already know the answer deep down, especially because she's blindfolded. Like, she's literally shooting an arrow blindfolded. She knows exactly where to shoot, pile number ones, and so do you. So when that decision comes up, go with your first instinct, is what I'm being told with that 2 of Swords reversed. Same thing, too, with the 9 of Pentacles reversed. That's a card of, well, reversed, it's like not getting the fruits of your labor. Take that into account when you come across this situation in the next 3 months, or any opportunities for leadership or taking leaps of faith. Think about how much work you've put into things and what fruits you would get out of that labor, okay? For example, a lot of maybe the reason why you're being invited to, say, if this is like a leadership position or a higher position at your company you've been working at, say someone stepped down or was fired and they would need you to step in, or they want you to at least, think of it as a reward for all the hard work that you've done. Or if you do choose not to take that leadership position and you go towards your other dream, maybe even leaving the company, maybe that's been something you've been considering, just keep that in mind. What would give you the most fruits for your labor? Okay. And then last but not least, the 3 of Pentacles is all about teamwork. Like I said, that was also a keyword with your Citadel Oracle here, teamwork, taking command. Keep the group in mind when you're making decisions in the next 3 months. What would be best for the whole group? What would make you a team player when you make these decisions? But also factor in, your own happiness, because you can't be a team player in a team where you're unhappy. So just keep those things in mind as you go across these 3 months and have these leap of faith opportunities or leadership opportunities come your way. But no matter what, in the end, though, pile number ones, just know you have the ability to weather through whatever comes on your path with that 9 of Wands, especially having come out earlier next to the 6 of Wands, which is the card of victory. Yes, it's unexpected with the 7 of Pentacles reversed, but it's a really good opportunity for you to express some of your really good leadership qualities that maybe haven't had the chance to shine yet until this point in your life. And just because you take one path doesn't mean you can't, or that you have to completely give up on the other one. That's another piece of advice that I think Spirit wants to give to you. So I'll leave you with that, my lovely pile number ones, as always. I hope that reading was helpful for you. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and just remember, you can make it through. You have the leadership power, and you have the determination and the strength and the mental power to do really well in whatever path you choose, okay? Okay, have a great day. Hope that reading was helpful, and I hope to see you in the next reading, pile number ones. Bye. Hello there, my beautiful pile number twos. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of a glimpse into your next 3 months. I am super excited for this reading today, not just because, well, predictive readings are fun, but also if you are familiar with my community posts, I put a poll on my posts last week asking what kind of decks you guys like, especially my regular viewers. And based on that poll, I got 4 new decks, which we're using all of them today in today's reading. So without further ado, we'll get to your reading, but I just wanted to say thank you again to everyone who voted in that poll. And yeah, we'll be using some new decks today. I'm excited. So as you recall, the pile leader you used to pick your pile today was Spirit of Dimensional, Entering Discovery. A lot about exploratory type energy. Discovering new things seems to be a little bit of a theme coming up in the next 3 months, but of course we'll see the whole picture when we reveal all your other cards. So we already have your Oracle cards. I always draw those beforehand. We'll set your pile leader over here next to the pine cone. And then as always, I like to draw the tarot cards on screen. So let's shuffle and pull your messages from your spirit team. We're using the, I think it's called the Wild Reflections Tarot deck today. You can tell why I was excited about it when I saw the pine trees. So, yeah, pine trees, I'm there. It instantly went in the shopping cart. So, anyway, spirit team of pile number twos. For their next 3 months, could you give me 5 cards for their highest best good, explaining about what's in store for them in these next 3 months? Thank you. There's already one that popped out. Okay, we have 1. And then let's unveil the rest. That card right there. Boop. Number 3. And number 4. Okay, I'm just going to readjust these a bit. My little tiny hand sometimes has to... I have a hard time holding decks sometimes because my hands are so tiny. And number 5. There we go. So, we pulled the tarot cards. Let's reveal your oracle cards first. So, from the Citadel Oracle today, you received the Thief with the Earth element, seizing the moment, selfishness. Interesting. Seizing the moment, selfishness. With Entering Discovery. We'll talk about those more in a second. Then we have 2 cards from the Ask Your Guides Oracle. The first one today is Loss from Healer Guides. Love that depiction. It's beautiful. I mean, the whole deck is just gorgeous, but I told pile number ones today, I'm going to be saying, oh, these decks are so beautiful, like the whole reading, so I apologize if I repeat a lot. Second card is Boredom. Interesting, from Teacher Guides. Boredom. Loss and boredom. And then from the Folklore Oracle today, you received the Sequoia tree. And in this particular deck, the Sequoia is representative of, I think the keyword is perspective, especially because of how old and how tall they get. So basically, it's about making adjustments to withstand certain hardships in life based on your perspective. Kind of like seeing the glass, half full versus half empty. Especially throughout the symbolism of the sequoia as a tree that can withstand fires. And in fact, I was reading sequoias are, I believe they need fire for their pine cones to open, for their seeds to actually be planted. So it's almost kind of about like blossoming in a time of hardship is basically the meaning of the sequoia in this particular deck. So, which is just a beautiful message. And then let's unveil your tarot cards before I get too far in the weeds. So first card is Death Reversed. Something about a certain phase of life hasn't come to an end quite yet. Death sounds like a scary card, but typically in tarot it's actually a pretty good sign, so don't run away from the reading yet. You're probably like, oh, the thief, lost, death, I'm gonna run. No, just wait. And then number 2, we have the King of Cups. The King of Cups is the external mastery of emotions, expressing ourselves, like he's playing probably a pretty good tune on the conch there, right? I just picture jazz music for some reason, which makes no sense with a conch shell, but yeah, now I'm going to be laughing about the King of Cups playing jazz. Okay, number 3 is the Six of Cups reversed, so something to do with either needing to get in touch with childhood memories more or people from childhood, or it could also mean some negative aspects of childhood. We'll talk about that more in a second. Number 4, we have the Star reversed, losing hope or faith in something. Interesting. And last but not least, we have the Four of Cups reversed. So the Four of Cups reversed is interesting. That card is all about having not noticed something for a while, and then finally in the reverse position, it's like, oh, I've been looking at these seashells for so long, I didn't notice this one being handed to me. So it's almost like the opposite of apathy. You're like, oh, I finally noticed this thing. Which is interesting because you also have boredom as a card. And boredom and apathy kind of go hand in hand. So I'm going to look over your cards here, pile number 2s. Apologies for just a moment of silence as I not only kind of connect everything together, but also get some intuitive messages through. If some do, we'll see, but... You know, I get a lot of really good chaotic energy from the next 3 months, pile number 2s. And I know we usually hear the word chaos or chaotic and we want to like run away like the far opposite direction. But I promise you it's good chaotic energy. Because the vibe I'm generally getting is it's chaos that brings in a lot of opportunities from a lot of different places. Or like a lot of varied experiences with different things. And so it's like a good, exciting set of 3 months rather than like, you know, oh, it's going to be tumultuous and scary and chaotic. It's like a good, to use D&D terms, it's chaotic good. I got kind of nerdy there for a second, but we are using a fantasy oracle. Chaotic good set of 3 months, pile number 2s. And I'm trying to think about, one second. Chaotic good. Because I think in recent months leading up to this next set of 3 months, pile number 2s, you have been having a lot of stagnant energy. I feel like you've been kind of blocked in some ways, and or it feels like the universe just isn't sending a lot of new energy your way. But now you're on the cusp, right on the doorway in these next 3 months of entering, like I said, it feels like chaotic energy, but it's good chaotic energy in terms of, especially with your pile leader, entering discovery. It's like having been stuck in a boring windowless room for a long time, and then all of a sudden you're introduced to like a whole library, and your spirit team is just saying like, okay, now you have a bunch of things to do and a bunch of things to learn and a bunch of things to read. And so it's going to cure some of that boredom and some of that feeling of apathy, especially with the Four of Cups reversed at the end here. Like I said, it's like you finally, I mean, you've been waiting so dang long for something, and you're sitting here and you're like, well, I have these 3 shells, but I'm really bored with this life or these 3 shells. And then all of a sudden you turn and you're like, oh wait, the universe is handing me this other shell. Or this, I should say, other opportunity is really what it means, right? This new thing to explore. Finally, after a time of, God, I've been so bored, I feel like things have been stagnant, I feel like, you know, and so these next 3 months for you, pile number 2s, is going to be a really good time for breaking through blockages, through breaking through what has been, I feel like, yeah, not just a boring, apathetic period of your life up till this reading or up to this point in your life, but even it could have been like a time of a lot of sadness and sorrow, especially too with the thief having come up and then like loss. Loss is about, well, I mean, like what it says on the tin, I guess I don't really have to repeat it, losing something. And that can mean anything from having, from as dramatic as having lost a loved one, in which case, my condolences, pile number 2. That can cause a lot of boredom and apathy and sadness, because oftentimes when we lose a loved one, that can create depression. And when we're depressed, oftentimes we don't really feel that engaged or energetic. So if that is the case for you, pile number 2s, these next 3 months are going to be the time where you finally break through kind of the fog of the aftermath of whatever the loss was, whether it be, as like I said, a loved one, or it could have been like loss of a career or loss of a job. It could have been loss of just energy in general. Maybe you just kind of lost your vibe for life a little bit in recent months, Sometimes that even happens with, well, right now when I'm recording this, it's July, but, I know there's different seasons around different parts of the world. And, especially tends to be like winter months. I know people get like seasonal affective disorder. Maybe that kind of affects you. And so being out a little bit more in the sun, being out a little bit more in this more chaotic exploratory energy is going to kind of, break that boredom, break that apathy, and get you back up on your feet. A little bit more of, I'm almost being shown you walking from that dark windowless room into like a whole library of sunshine. It's like, oh, look at all this light and look at all this opportunity and these exciting things I can read. And that too with your Thief card, it's about seizing the moment. When these opportunities come in the next 3 months, your pile number 2 is, even if, like I said, if you have lost a loved one and you've been a little bit depressed, once again, my condolences if that's the case. If people give you opportunities to go out or give you opportunities to try new things, or there's something that maybe catches your fancy, perhaps a new hobby, or perhaps, taking a class somewhere, do it. Okay? Seize the moment in these next 3 months. That's what you're being told. Pick yourself, a little bit out of that kind of stagnant energy into more active energy, and the universe will, basically is what your spirit guides are saying, the universe will pay that back in kind and really help you break through whatever the blockage has been. And too, with the sequoia, like I was saying, their pine cones don't open unless exposed to heat. And so they need forest fires to grow new sequoias, to my understanding. At least that's kind of what the guidebook had said about this particular card. And so it's like, you've been kind of stuck in that period of, it almost feels like, I don't want to say destruction, because that's really negative, but that's kind of what wildfire is. It is destruction, but it's destruction that leads to creation, like in the example with the seeds of the sequoia. And so that's what I feel like this transition is like for you. It's having gone through a time of destruction or loss to create new things in your life. It's like a wildfire clearing out the old energy and letting new things grow in the fertile soil that's left behind, like after a literal forest fire, using that as a metaphor, though. Yeah, especially to, getting to your, I haven't even got really to your tarot cards much other than the Four of Cups reversed. Yeah, I feel like, especially with death reverse, that's like feeling kind of stuck in a certain phase in your life. It's like we haven't moved on to the next phase of something. We're not quite able to open that new door, especially in the first position here, which I almost kind of like read that like mostly past energy depending on the combinations. So yeah, that feeling of stuck, of stillness, and you're like, okay, well, I'm kind of waiting. It's like the calm before the storm, or it's like right after the storm, and you're just kind of sitting there kind of looking around and like, okay, well, I have this loss, right? I have this sadness, and I'm like, well, what do I do now? Especially if it was, a really close loved one, pile number 2s. A lot of times the loss of them isn't just losing them, it's also losing the time and the space they took in your life, and you're like, well, what do I do with this time and space now? Or if it's like a job, you're like, well, what do I do with the time and the space that I have now? Maybe if, you're still looking for a new job, you're currently unemployed, so you have more free time is another example. Or, it could be, maybe you got employed again if you had lost a job, but it's like less hours, so you have more free time that way. And you're like, well, what the heck do I do with that? I'm kind of in that stagnant energy of like, well, what do I do now, right? And then moving into what's interesting though is the King of Cups and the Six of Cups reversed right next to it. I'll get to that message in just a second, because I feel like this is a separate message from what I was talking about. So yes, that time of stagnancy we talked about with the Death reverse. We'll talk about Six of Cups and the King of Cups later. And then at the end here, we have the loss of hope or faith with the star reversed. Sometimes I almost kind of read that like the sun reversed, where it's like a little bit of like a depression, that sadness we talked about in recent months leading up to these next 3 months, pile number 2s. And then, yeah, the Four of Cups, like I said before, is, man, I'm bored, I'm sad, things aren't going so great. And then all of a sudden, the universe gives me this opportunity that I hadn't quite seen yet with the Four of Cups. It's like finally noticing something. Finally realizing, oh, hey, wait a minute, there's something I can do here. So seize the moment, pile number 2s, in these next 3 months. Whenever you see that metaphorical shell being offered to you from the universe, take it. Like I said, if that's maybe someone offering to say, hey, let's go out for dinner together, or hey, let's go walk to this park together, you know. Take opportunities where they come, seize the moment. Like, I mean, the Citadel card is the thief, right? And thieves, the reason why it says seize the moment is because oftentimes, like, you think of a pickpocket, and what a pickpocket does is they sit and they watch and they look for opportunities for, you know, maybe someone that isn't watching their pocket or isn't watching their purse or whatever. And that's why, you know, it's like that energy of, I mean, of course, don't go pickpocket people. I don't mean that, of course, you know, that pile number 2s, but that same energy of the thief, though, of what opportunities are around me am I not taking, okay? And take them when they come. Now, back to the message of the King of Cups and the Six of Cups reversed, because I said, well, I was like, that's a separate message. This also tells me in the next 3 months, pile number 2s, that because of the loss that occurred, this period of time for you is an opportunity to really get in touch not only with your feelings regarding this loss. Maybe you've been kind of feeling a bit numb so far. I mean, some, you know, people react and grieve in different ways depending on what the loss was, you know, especially if it was a loved one, right? Some people are very depressed in terms of sadness. Some people just try to throw themselves into projects and they do other things, even just a bit listlessly, though. Or it could also be, you know, some people just feel kind of numb after a time of loss. That's very normal, and everyone grieves differently. There's no shame in grieving the way that you do and the way that you naturally are. We're all, you know, different expressions of spirit, and everyone is valid, right? But these next 3 months with that King of Cups and the Six of Cups reversed, you know, it's about, you know, well, the Six of Cups reversed is like asking for more, delving into the past, really analyzing what it was or who it was that you lost. And, what's the best word? Excuse me, my voice is a bit scratchy. Delving into the past and really analyzing, and number 2, with the King of Cups, verbalizing how you feel about it. Maybe even connecting to other people who are, you know, related to the loss, especially, like I said, if it's a loved one, it could be a family member or other family members, expressing, this is how I feel. You know, embody that King of Cups energy of, you know, I have this heart and I have these feelings and I have this thing that's been kind of dragging me down in terms of my emotions, and now I'm going to express it to the world, like he's playing the conch, which, you know, I associated with jazz earlier for some reason. I don't know, maybe jazz music resonates with some of you. Maybe that's kind of a synchronicity there, but yeah. Blasting it to the world and saying, this is how I feel, because there's no shame in, especially after a time of loss, there's no shame in saying, you know, I feel this way, and maybe I need some support a little bit, you know, from the people around you, okay, and saying that, verbalizing it, no shame in it, right, pile number 2s. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else here. I'm also going to just take a drink really quick. Apologies for the silence. Clear up some of that throat scratchiness. I feel like, too, there's something with your childhood involved in the next 3 months because of that Six of Cups reversed, pile number 2s. Because the Six of Cups can also be the childhood card. So if this was like the loss of a family member, the next 3 months could be an opportunity for you to explore more with your siblings regarding this topic. So it could be talking to them more about how you both feel about the loss, you know, or other family members from childhood, how you feel about the loss. And also just processing your own emotions from childhood based on what it was that you lost. You know, it could be, you know, if we already used the family member example, it could also be like, let's say it was like a job that you lost in recent months, pile number 2s. Could be that losing that job triggered some emotions from childhood from you. Maybe you, like, in childhood you felt, you had low self-esteem, and so losing this job also kind of knocked your self-esteem a bit because, it kind of hits our ego a little bit when we lose a job. We feel bad about ourselves because we think, well, what did I do wrong? Why was I cut, or why was I let go? And so it can ding your confidence a little bit. And so perhaps it touched something from your childhood about lacking confidence that hadn't really come up in a while. And so these next 3 months are an opportunity to also use that King of Cups energy of, I'm going to honestly and loudly and proudly, okay, cheesy as it sounds, honestly, loudly, and proudly explore the emotions that this loss inspired in me, or maybe reinvigorated in me, even if it's negative emotions, because negative emotions like sadness or feeling a lack of self-confidence, like, those are just as valid to express as well, pile number 2s. Every emotion is a blah, excuse me, I can't talk. Every emotion is as valid, there we go, I got it out, is as valid as positive emotions. Okay, see if there's anything else here. I want to know more about these opportunities. Now, for pile number 1s, I asked for the last 3 cards I was going to pull to be like advice, but I think for you, I want to ask what the opportunities are, because I think that would be the best way to use our time together, pile number 2. So spirit team, spirit guides of pile number 2s, could you talk more about what these opportunities are in the next 3 months, please? What are the opportunities they shouldn't glance away from? Okay, well, that one almost came out. Okay, there's one. So there's one, and then let's pick out the other 2. Right there, number 2. Yeah, that one for sure. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Let's see what these opportunities are, pile number 2s. Because that's what I'm most excited for you, is like, what are the opportunities? What is that seashell being handed to you by the universe? First, we have the Emperor. Lovely masculine energy, logic, structure, authority. Could be the opportunity to take leadership on something, which is funny because that's literally what pile number 1 had. So if you were also drawn to pile number 1s, like when we were doing the pile picking, you might want to look at pile number 1 as well. Okay, the Emperor, beautiful. Number 2, we have, okay, the Empress, literally the opposite energy. The Empress is feminine energy, creation energy. Especially with the figure being pregnant, right? Creating, feminine. Creativity in general. Gorgeous, lots of major arcana. What a beautiful next 3 months, pile number 2s. Especially if you've been going through hard times, this is going to look like, literally, I think of like the sun dawning behind her figure here. Yeah. You're like, finally the sun is dawning after that time of darkness. Finally. And then we have the, oh, beautiful, the 5 of Cups reversed. This is gorgeous, pile number 2s. Literally, so the 5 of Cups upright is often about being sad or being in a time of grief. The 5 of Cups reversed is recovering after a time of grief. Beautiful card to get for the reading we just had. Okay, this is wonderful. So the opportunities for you, pile number 2, is in the next 3 months or so. Getting more detail on that. There are opportunities for not only like leadership, because you've got the Emperor. He's like a leader type figure, masculine energy, right? This could mean like, yeah, spearheading like a new thing in terms of, like, if you're not in the group that lost a job, it could be like a leadership position at your job. It could be if you did lose your job, this is a fantastic opportunity to start a business of your own with that leadership energy, which once again, like I said, pile number 1s were very similar. So if you're drawn to that pile, read that pile. Things like that. Also, I just think of woodworking too for some reason. Maybe because he's sitting like a wooden throne here. And then that leads me into the Empress here, which is the Empress, the feminine energy, creation energy, nurturing energy. This is a fantastic time to take opportunities regarding your creative projects in the next 3 months here, pile number 2s. Just exploring creativity in general, like especially maybe part of the stagnancy of the recent months has been like writers or like artists block in general. And like the next 3 months are a perfect time of that dawning after the time of dark of, okay, now I'm getting back into the groove, and now like I feel like I can go full steam ahead on the projects that I have maybe let go a little bit during the time of loss. Also, too, if you do want to start your own business or your own venture, these two cards next to each other are fantastic because you have the leadership authority of the Emperor, but you also have the creation, nurturing energy of the Empress. Like, golden combination for starting your own business, in my personal opinion, in reading tarot. So, if you did lose your job, go out on your own, pile number 2s, okay? Or if maybe there's someone else that comes forward to you and says, hey, you want to do this thing with me? And yeah, that might be one of the opportunities offered to you, and I would say take it if you can. Of course, you have free will, pile number 2s, but pretty good opportunity, or like outcome, I should say, in the cards for you if you decide to go with it. And then the 5 of Cups reversed, okay? This is overcoming a time of sadness, which is great for this reading, like I said when I pulled it out. This is also saying that whenever there's an opportunity to do something that makes you happy, pile number 2s, take it. So, for example, maybe you really enjoy the self-care ritual of like a bubble bath, or, depending on, like going for a spa day or something, or spending time with a friend of yours or a family member of yours, or it could be binging your favorite show again to distract yourself a little bit from sadness, or it could be even eating your favorite food, or, cooking your favorite food at home. Going out to eat, whatever it is that makes you happy, pile number 2s. Do not reject any opportunity in the next 3 months to take it. And I know it's easier said than done, especially if we're in a time of sadness, okay? A lot of times when we're sad, we just want to stay home. We just want to stay in our little shells and our cocoons to recover. But a lot of times can be really good healing energy derived from going out I guess you don't even have to go out. Like I said, just binge your favorite show. You can do that right in your own home, but just do something, whatever it is. Take opportunities to do things that make you happy with that 5 of Cups reversed. So, yeah. And in general, the opportunities are related to, leadership, creation, and happiness. Like I said, gorgeous when I pulled. I was like, oh, this is great when I pulled them out. See if there's anything else here before I sign off with you, pile number 2s. Also, because you did get the mother and the father cards in here, especially the Empress being a pregnant card. I usually don't read on like pregnancy or health, but if you're in a relationship and currently looking for introducing a child into your partnership, be it through either literal pregnancy or adoption, or whatever method, this is also a great time for that, I can see, especially with you having gotten both of the parent cards. So if you've been looking to get pregnant or your partner to get pregnant, I would say this is probably a great time for it. And or if you are currently, or your partner currently is pregnant, it seems like a pretty healthy outcome for that pregnancy. Good birth, right? Let's see if there's anything else here. So that's another great opportunity. And even, bringing a child into your life also can bring a lot of happiness after loss. Because that's the thing with life, pile number 2 is, even if it was someone that you lost, like I said, once again, my condolences if that's the case for you. A lot of times when we lose, we always know that there are opportunities to gain in the future. The people that we used to spend time with that we've lost, we can then turn that time and the lessons and the things they shared with us into things that we can share with new people, especially like, I always think of the example of sharing things that, say if it was a parent that you lost, right? And sharing that with the new generation after you, things like that. And there's a lot of joy in that because it's not just remembering the person that is gone now, or at least far away, we'll say. Remembering them, it's also bringing light to the life of the younger person. So also look for opportunities in that way, pile number 2s, in the next few months of sharing things with younger people that especially in your family, but yeah, spending time with them. Interesting. Sorry, I'm silent again. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything here. Beautiful. Well, I'll leave you with that, my lovely pile number 2s. As always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 2s. Hello there, my lovely pile number 3s. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of a glimpse into the next 3 months ahead. And I'm very excited for this reading today, not just because, well, predictive readings are always fun, they're always a blast to do, but if you're familiar with my community posts, I recently posted a poll on asking my viewers, what are your favorite types of decks? And then after that, I had mentioned I bought new decks based on your feedback. So thanks again for everyone who participated in the poll, because we're using all those new decks in today's reading, and I'm super stoked about it. So without further ado, let's get to your reading. As you recall, the pile leader you used to choose your pile was Water of Dimensional, Watercourse Way. And this card is all about allowing ourselves to flow along with life a little bit more. Instead of fighting the current, it's about more going along with the current to make it easier on ourselves and let the universe kind of guide us where we need to go. So we'll keep that in mind as we look at your other cards. I already pulled your Oracle cards, of course, like I always do, just to save time before the reading. And then I'll pull your tarot cards on screen. So also got a new tarot deck, and you can probably tell why I picked this deck. There's a lot of pine trees everywhere. I saw the pine trees, and I was like, okay, well, that's going in the shopping cart quite immediately. So, spirit team of my lovely pile number 3s, could you give me 5 cards explaining more about the 3 months ahead for them for their highest, best good? Thank you. 5 cards. What's happening in the 3 months ahead for our lovely pile number 3s? All right, well, that one for sure. I'm just going to pick that one because it's very prominent. I usually pick by feeling the cards, but sometimes I pick them by the ones that stick out, like I used to do that method, but okay, number 3. Number 4. That one, number 5. Okay. Let's reveal your cards, pile number 3s, for the next 3 months. First up from the Oracle decks. From the Citadel Oracle, you received the Acolyte, New Projects and Learning. Gorgeous card. I'm going to keep saying that. I always tell the other piles today, I was like, I'm going to keep saying everything's beautiful today, because they're all new decks and I get really excited. Sorry if I nerd out a little bit. And then from the Ask Your Guides Oracle, I picked 2 different cards today. So the first one is Ending. You know, it's interesting. Okay, so Ending Nature Spirits, but then you also have New Projects with the Acolyte. So New Energy and Ending Energy. That's interesting. Let's see if you get the Death card in Tarot. We'll see, but Ending from Nature Spirits. And also a gorgeous deck. All those neon colors. The second one is, Community from Runner Guides. Interesting. Community. And from the Folklore Oracle today, you received Ogma. And if you're not familiar, Ogma is I believe, a figure from Irish mythology, Gaelic mythology in general. He was the one that created I think it's called is it the Ogham script? Anyone in my comments, feel free to correct me if I completely mispronounced that or got that wrong. But you can kind of see it back here. It was like a Gaelic language, the Ogham script. Hence, called Ogham because Ogma, right? And this card in this particular deck represents communication because he is like the creator of a language, making sure that we word things carefully, understanding the power that words have. The pen is mightier than the sword. I mean, sure looks very Irish, doesn't he? The red hair and the green eyes. The Ogham script. Kind of reminds me of, was it Odin that created the runes in Norse mythology? He almost kind of reminds me of Odin, if that's the case. I think that was Odin. Once again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So from your tarot deck, you received the 2 of Cups reversed, which can mean disharmony in relationships. We'll see what that means in combination with the other cards. Number 2, we received the King of Wands. So the mastery of the external manifestation of creativity and willpower. Someone who is charismatic and confident, sometimes represented by the King of Wands. He looks like a traveler. He's got a world map behind him and a backpack and a lantern. Number 3, we have the Knight of Swords. Okay, so he's on a motorcycle in this particular depiction. Reversed, though, the King of Swords is asking for more action based on your thoughts, or a lack of action based on your thoughts. We'll see what else pops out before I comment on that. Number 4, we have Justice reversed, which is pretty much what it says on the tin. Injustice. Feeling like something is a bit unfair to us, or objectively, universally, truth-wise it is. And then last but not least, we have the Ten of Pentacles reversed, okay? Sometimes known as the inheritance card, the legacy card reversed. It feels like we're not being given what's owed to us, or not being given inheritance, or a feeling of a lack of support from earlier generations is kind of what that can mean. It can also mean feeling like a lack of fulfillment in terms of career because of the reversed energy of the Ten of Pentacles. Yeah, and the tens are also like the final cards other than the court cards in their suit. So just a moment, I'm going to look over your cards a little bit here, pile number 3s. I'm going to also ask for intuitive messages to come through from your spirit team, so apologies for just a little bit of silence. You know, the first thing that's intuitively popping out to me, pile number 3, is over the next 3 months, I think you're considering leaving a situation. And, well, the other part of it, though, is, yeah, so I think you're considering leaving a situation, but the little tough part of it that maybe you've really been chewing on is you're not really sure how to leave the situation. Maybe you've been hemming and hawing about, should I go? Should I stay? Should I, really embark on this new adventure, or should I continue with where I am at? And specifically, I think for most of you, this is either regarding a relationship or a friendship. It could technically be related to a job, but because you got the Two of Cups reversed here in the first position, that's about disharmony in relationships, and especially being next to the King of Wands, who is someone I feel is very confident and charismatic. I almost kind of see him as a soul independent type. It's like you deciding to step out and strike out on your own after a relationship or a friendship that didn't quite work out. It could also be if you're in business with someone else, maybe it's a business partnership you're considering walking out on. Connecting it back to you if this is career related for you, but yeah, could be romantic relationship, could be a friendship, right? And, if that's news to you, pile number 3s, don't run away in fear of this reading. I think it's something that you've already been kind of considering if that applies to you in terms, especially a romantic relationship, because this is the past energy card here with the Two of Cups reversed. So I think you've already kind of been hemming and hawing about it if that applies to you. So this really, I always kind of say this in my readings when, a card like the Two of Cups is in the past position is, I think you've already kind of known it was coming. You've already been kind of considering it. But that's the thing is you're like, okay, well, do I stay? Do I go? Especially too with the endings card here, or ending. Also the Acolyte being new projects and learning. So it's like both a door closing and both a door opening. And that's what the next 3 months are kind of themed around for you, I think, pile number 3s. And especially with this particular ending card, it's like someone running away, like running off somewhere. But you're not quite sure how to take action yet during these next 3 months. I think a lot of it is going to be about deliberating over it. Mainly because you have the Knight of Swords reversed. That's about, okay, I already have, with the King of Wands, the passion or the heart to leave this place that's not serving me anymore, or leave these people or person that's not serving me anymore. But then with the Knight of Swords reversed right next to it, it's like, okay, but how do I logically go about this? So it indicates some kind of confusion about, okay, my heart is set, but logically, what do I do next? That's the question of the Knight of Swords reversed next to the King of Wands, or I should say after. And I think part of the reason why you're leaving or considering leaving this job or this person or these people is because of injustice here with justice reversed. Things are not very fair to you so far in this relationship or this place, pile number 3s. You're really considering, like, do I put up with this? Do I take this crap? I'll just kind of put it bluntly. Or do I leave and go where I'm kind of, the universe seems to be pushing, and it almost feels to pile number 3 that the universe has been kind of pushing you away from this for a while, but maybe you just haven't really been heeding the call, because it's scary to make a change. It's scary, especially if it's like leaving a relationship. Maybe you've been with this person for a long time and you're like, I don't know, like, do I leave? Or if it's a job, it's like, oh man, if I leave this job, am I letting go of this security? Like, what if the next one's worse? There's a lot of what if questions. There's a lot of scary thoughts, and but that's the thing, is that when it comes to that decision, pile number 3 is any decision like that any of us make in life, it comes down to, what do I value more? Being in a place or a relationship that is more fair to me, or do I fear change more? Like, what do I fear more? Change, or the injustice of staying, or the injustice that it would wreak upon me if I did stay. Is maybe how I should word it, a little bit less clunky. But yeah, so, and then the Ten of Pentacles reversed is interesting too. That tells me, I think, it could be related to family for some of you, because the Ten of Pentacles is, you have, it looks like, a couple here that's maybe in their 20s to middle-aged, and then they have their kids here. And then there is, like, a father figure here in the foreground. So it does talk about, like, generations and families. And sometimes the Ten of Pentacles can talk about, like, inheritance or legacy. Yeah, I mean, for those of you where this is, like, family related, it could be there was a little bit of a spat over inheritance. And things were done unjustly on your end. Or to you, I should say. And so now you're considering, like, well, do I let them keep screwing me over? Or do I just leave? Or, like, what do I do? Like, that's the question for you. Or it could also be, Pentacles can mean career in general. That's just, like, the career suit. Where I feel like it's, like, the higher level of management above your job at that place isn't really doling out things fairly based on merit or based on... Like, it's more nepotism than it is, like, meritocracy. Like, it's not... And so that's why it's kind of unfair to you, pile number 3. It's like this, for those of you, this is, like, a job-related thing. Either way, you're not happy. Like, things are not fair to you. Like, no matter how this applies to you as a general reading, everyone's going to be just a bit different. And so, yeah, you're thinking of ending it with that particular community. Especially, too, you have community here from the Ask Your Guides Oracle community. Like, do I leave this group? Do I leave this place? And then to, part of the question you might be mulling over in these next 3 months is, especially with Agma, like I said, that's the card of communication, of how much power that words do have. Maybe it was even things that people said to you were, like, the final straw in, like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to leave this place now, or, and so now you're just in that phase of, okay, well, how do I leave this place? You've already made the decision, but you're like, well, how do I word it? How do I, especially if it's like a job, it could be, well, how do I word the resignation? Or if it's like leaving a family related thing, I mean, that's even more difficult than leaving a job is, like, well, how do I word my exit from this group, especially if it's family, with it being like blood ties, because, yeah, or it could just be a community group in general. Maybe you're leaving, it could be as simple as like a book club, or maybe leaving, a board of some sort, or, yeah, and you're like, well, then how do I word that so that I don't offend anybody? But basically, there are ways, pile number 3, is to say things carefully, and I think you understand that, the power that words have, and that's why maybe you're hesitating a little bit on just completely just dropping everything and leaving. You're like, I gotta do this carefully, and I gotta do this the right way, but how do I do that? And so that's kind of the questions you're coming across here. Yeah, and I think, especially with Justice reversed in the future position, and then, like, the Ten of Pentacles reversed is, like, the outcome here, or, like, the far future. I feel like even at the end of these 3 months coming ahead, you probably will still be in this place of your own choice. So don't feel like, oh no, like I'm going to get stuck here, because you are really being careful about how you leave. What's your exit strategy is probably the best term to use. And so, yeah, there's going to be a little bit more of the injustice coming upon you, and a little bit more of that Ten of Pentacles reversed feeling upon you, because you're still kind of in this place of, you know, figuring out how to go forward. And so a little bit of a negative aspect with that. I always tell my viewers I don't sugarcoat readings. You know, if I do see a lot of negative cards, I say it as it is. So, yes, the next 3 months might not be, you know, completely, you know, you're off away from this bad place or these bad people and you're in sunshine land quite yet. But the good news is, pile number 3 is you're very much so on the way there. You're just being very careful about how you exit, okay? And then let's see if there's any other messages here for the next 3 months. And, you know, the other silver lining of this pile number 3 is like, yes, you might still be kind of stuck in this energy or this place or with these people still by the end of these 3 months. But it's also a really fruitful time for new projects, because especially with the acolyte, right? New projects, learning. It would be a really great time for you, especially if this is like a career-related thing, to maybe take on maybe an independent project. Maybe you do like your own business, or you do your own, like if you had a business partnership before, you completely just stake it out on your own. And brainstorming over that. It's like a really fertile ground, a really fertile time for deciding how you're going to go forward. What new projects are you going to take on? You know, same thing too with, where was I going with that? Sorry, just 1 second. Yeah, new projects. So anything that you take on that's new in these next 3 months, pile number 3 is going to be very fruitful. And I think that will even spur you on a bit more to leave this place, to give you even more confidence that it isn't the right place or the right group of people for you, because you realize how much better you're doing without them, or without like that group to hold you back, or that place to hold you back or down. Yeah. Like moving from a land of strife into like a lot more easy place for your ideas to come to fruition and for your own personal power and skills to shine. Okay, that's kind of what I'm being told intuitively here. And finding, you know, maybe a better group that supports you more, especially if it's like going to a new workplace. Let's see if there's any other messages here too, pile number 3s. And then your pile leader, Watercourse way, like I said when we first looked at that, that's all about letting yourself go along with the flow of the universe, letting yourself go along with like the current, kind of like it shows a river in the card. And I do see one of the obstacles in these next 3 months is going to be that hesitation. I think that's why by the end of the 3 months you're still maybe not moved on already, because I think you really want it to work out, pile number 3. So you really want this relationship to go well, you really want this job to go well, or this place to go well, or you're at least hoping for like maybe a little bit more fairness to you. You're hoping that justice reversed will turn around. But kind of what that pile leader is telling me at pile 3 is for Watercourse way is, by the end of these 3 months, I think you'll realize that the universe has been kind of pushing you away from this place or these people or this person for a reason, because it's going to lead you to somewhere better. Especially too, because there's a lot of imagery of like swerving and like river, you know, not just in your water of dimensional card, but also here in community. It's like that feeling of, it's almost like water flowing around these hands, or like through these hands. So there's a lot about just going with the flow and learning to do that instead of like, I mean, the imagery I'm literally getting intuitively is they're showing me you right in front of a crack in a dam, and you're like trying to hold back the water in the crack with your own body, and it's like, you know you know that you're like, I can't hold this crack, but I'm still going to try. And it's, so the next 3 months, are you trying to hold that water back? But then you know that eventually that dam is going to burst. And so eventually, like, the universe is going to kind of, I mean, you always have free will, pile number threes, but eventually the universe is going to kind of like push you from that dam to push you downriver to somewhere better where you don't have to sit there and hold up all that weight on your own all the time. You don't have to be Atlas holding up the world all by yourself, trying to patch that crack in the dam so that the water doesn't flow. I mean, sometimes the most constructive things we can do, pile number threes, in life is to let things be destroyed. Okay. That's another intuitive message for you from your spirit team. Sometimes, I'll repeat it, letting things be destroyed can lead to the creation of things that are better, especially for yourself in a place where you know that things are not fruitful and things are not working for you, and things, especially with justice reversed, are not fair to you. So, yeah, over the next 3 months, you know, you're not being rushed out. You're not being told to go immediately. You're just being told, hey, eventually something's going to happen, probably where the universe will guide you away from it no matter what anyways, because there's a place that's better for you out there, or a person or a group that's better for you out there. But yeah, don't feel rushed. You can take your time to logically think through the next 3 months about your next step, your next plan. Where do I go from here? What new projects do I want to invest in? What learning do I want to do? Maybe even take some classes or buy some books or rent some books based on the thing that you're deciding to do next. And 2, you know, with Agma, really think carefully about how you word things when you exit or leave this person or this place. So that's why you're being afforded time here. The dam isn't breaking quite yet, but eventually you're going to have to let go of patching that hole in the dam and just let the water flow and let the dam come down, pile number threes, okay? So, yeah. Like I said, I don't sugarcoat, but there are silver linings. And oftentimes in readings like this, things come to an end for a really good reason. And that's because, like I said, you're being led to somewhere better after this time of change. Somewhere where things are more fair to you, and somewhere where you can really invest in and shine your leadership qualities with that King of Wands, and where the people around you are in better community or in better harmony with you, and where you feel like you can invest in new projects that will have good results rather than feeling like you have to keep patching what isn't working and what you know is not going to work in the end. Okay. So, like the other piles, I want to draw 3 final cards for you. I kind of have been ad-libbing each pile. First pile got some advice. Second pile, I asked for more clarity on one thing. What do I want to do for you, pile number 3? I want to ask where this is leading. I want to know, like, what is the better thing or place out there or person out there for you. So I'm going to ask Spirit Team of pile number 3s, could you give me 3 cards explaining more about, like, where does this river lead for them? Where's the rainbow after the storm? What is it? Thank you. Okay, there's one that popped out. We have the 10 of Swords. Okay. As the first card. We have Temperance reversed. Okay. And we have the Star. Beautiful. Okay, where is this leading, pile number 3? So, 10 of Swords looks scary on the surface. It can mean betrayal sometimes. That's not how I would personally interpret it in this particular reading. It can also mean feeling like we're at the end of something and we have been in pain. We have been stabbed in the back. But the 10 of Swords is the step at which we realize, okay, the hardship is over. The battle is done. I don't have to fight this anymore. So, number 1, this path, this river we've been talking about, is leading you towards a place where the hardship will come to an end. Yes, you'll have some wounds to attend to. It takes time to kind of recover, and metaphorical wounds, I don't mean literally. So don't run away being like, I'm going to be stabbed, but no. Metaphorical wounds. Yes, it takes some time to recover. Okay, so that's a journey in and of itself, but what that means is the hardship is coming to an end at the end of this river that you're flowing down right now, or you're being asked to kind of just let go and flow down, right? Temperance reversed is about imbalance or a lack of moderation. We have, day, night, sun, rain, fertile field, fallow field, and so it's also leading you to a place where you can have an opportunity for more balance in your life. So it could be, if this is like a career change or a job change, pile number 3 is, it's leading you to a job or a career that will allow you more balance in your life. Or it could be, if this is a relationship, it'll lead you to a place where, even if it isn't with another person quite yet, like you might not get into a relationship right away, or you might. I'm not saying there's not really a either or here. We didn't get like love related cards, but even if you're single, or even if you're with another person, it's a place that will bring you a lot more balance here, or at least there's the opportunity for you to work on that. So maybe you've been investing a lot in this one area of your life that hasn't been going so well, and then this time is a chance for you to really start doling energy and time into different areas, attending those other fields again that maybe you've kind of let go fallow while you've been trying to pour all your energy into fixing this one that isn't going so well, right? And then last but not least, we have the star, which is beautiful. The star is all about having hope or having faith in something. It's also leading you to a place where you're going to have renewed hope and faith for the future. So yes, it's been kind of, a stark place. She's like she's kind of like in a savanna, but it almost looks more desert than savanna here. It feels like things have been a little bit dry. Maybe you've been kind of feeling like you've been walking through like a metaphorical desert. Maybe that's where all this water imagery comes, is because it's like having walked through this desert of life right now, pile number 3 is finally you find that oasis, you find that river, and it's like that star is finding that glimpse of hope, that glimpse of faith, and okay, I'm going to be okay now. Things are going to be great. Like, yeah, the journey there wasn't the easiest, but at least by the end of these 3 months, you're going to find that glimpse of, okay, I see a way out of this. The hardship is over. I can really start focusing and balancing my life again as soon as I make this change. And I can kind of follow, or at least find a different star to follow now. That too, because when we talk about hopes, hopes are also goals. So I think you'll also be finding another goal to seek here too, and that's where that's leading you. So the end of hardship, more opportunity for bringing more balance into your life and putting your energy in different, not putting all your eggs in one basket is maybe a better way to put that. And then having renewed hope and faith in the future and in your goals. So I will leave you with that, pile number 3. As always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 3s.